Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Stumps and Sixes for the ICC T20 World Cup. And in today's episode, we discuss India taking on Pakistan in what is one of the biggest rivalries of the competition. The current head-to-head is 5-1 in favor of India, with the only time Pakistan having beaten India being in 2021 in this format. So, initial thoughts for today.
Firstly, let me just take some time. I guess your jerseys are a bit traumatizing because, I still haven't. I mean, many people still haven't been able to digest the fact that we lost the 50-over World Cup, especially looking after this. But this game is probably one of the biggest, and the reason why ICC wanted this match to happen in USA is to bring that culture of T20 and cricket in USA. So definitely this is going to be one of the biggest clashes. Going ahead, the way that India has played, we have seen that it seems like the pitch, a lot of discussions again have happened about the pitch. But India are not too concerned about that right now. Rohit Sharma got that blow on his shoulder, but I don't think it's a major issue for the moment. For Pakistan, the match that we saw against USA, that is something that was never expected. We say that we would still call it as an upset, but I feel that this wasn't an upset. The way USA has played, they have literally proven that they are here for a reason and they want to stand out as a team that is right amongst the top teams playing in this competition. So, and the way that the World Cup has panned out so far, you can never expect one team to have a complete domination, because the pitches are favoring the bowlers more than the batters. So I guess that is where the competition is very even. And I guess that is how a tournament like ICC Cricket World Cup should be.
Yeah. I completely agree with Parth, and one coincidence is that in every tournament, be it ICC or Asia Cup, India and Pakistan are placed always in the same group. Now we don't know what jiggery pokeri goes behind the scenes, but whatever it is, we absolutely love it. Millions of Indian fans love it. Millions of Pakistan fans love it. Even as a neutral viewer, this is the blockbuster for sure. And so, of course, this is the biggest clash.
And probably that's the only time where India and Pakistan can play each other, because they don't play bilateral series anymore. This is the only competition, ICC tournaments, where they can face each other. So they have to be in the same group.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we can also point out that it's, as you said, millions of Indians watch it, and so do the Pakistanis. It's a clash that's look forward to. So we talked about the pitch. You specifically mentioned it, Nassau County this time. It is known to be very slow, bouncy, unpredictable. How do you think this will factor into the game this time round?
It has made the game more even. That is what I guess everyone has been looking at. For the batters, it is very difficult to score. We are not going to see scores of 200, 250 that we saw in the IPL are going to be made here. Even a score like, I would say, 110, 120 is going to be challenging. It can be defended. I think Sri Lanka the other day, when they scored 77, if they would have scored around 100, 110, I think they would have beaten South Africa. So that is the way ahead. And let's not keep that pitch conditions into these discussions, because the more you discuss about it, see, even ICC had to release a statement that they are trying to, level up the pitches and find out a solution so that the matches after this game, eventually, somehow it changes and brings in more batter perspective into picture. But I still feel that whatever it is, whatever the condition is given to you, you have to play on that day. So let's not complain about that, and let's move on with the show.
That is absolutely true. But even the toss has become a factor, because the teams batting first are struggling. Australia against a team like Oman, 29 for 3, like you mentioned. Sri Lanka, 77 all out. So teams are choosing to chase, and the batsmen are struggling in the first innings, and the teams chasing have a score in front of them. They play accordingly, adapt to that, and the teams chasing are having an advantage. So that is one
thing. Basically, what happens during the toss is when people feel the advantage is that you have to take care of the dew. But here there is no dew, because these are day games for now. Most of the matches that are played for us as the viewing audience, these are day games. So technically the toss even if it is not going in your favor, if you have to chase a target, again, you have to try and ensure, because the bowling conditions are the same for both the teams. The pitch
True.
is also not getting better in the second half, or any differences being created in the ground so far.
Yeah.
So as such, there is no technical difference that is creating that edge over the other. So
Yeah.
even if you lose the toss, I don't think that should be a major factor as a team.
Yeah, definitely. So we also were talking about the form of the teams. Pakistan losing to US, as you mentioned, in the super over. History for US essentially. Your few thoughts on that very match and their form leading into this game?
It was an absolute humdinger of a game. USA creating history by defeating Pakistan, and I wouldn't call it an upset because it may be a little disrespectful to USA because the way they played. I mean, if you look at the game, there was not a single point where you feel that USA is an associate nation. You feel that they are so calm and composed, they had a game plan ready and they just stuck to that game plan. Pakistan, on the other hand, were not at their best. 29 for 3, obviously, again, when you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you obviously are struggling. And I think Pakistan later changed gears, but they never found a top gear. 158 Pakistan with the bowling lineup Pakistan have, they must have been still favorites to defend it.
Yeah.
But again, USA batted superbly, 5 for 1 pressure situation. Again, USA scored that boundary, and that super over, USA dominated.
And I think Pakistan had literally brought the game back when the last 3 overs, Haris Rauf, Amir and Shaheen Afridi. So they all had that control, and it seemed at one point, and Mohammad Amir's penultimate over.
Yeah.
I mean, that 19th over was something to look out for. The way he tried to give as much cushion as possible to Haris Rauf.
Yeah.
But one thing that could have been changed is, I guess everyone tried to replicate what Mohammad Amir was trying to do, is just bowl Yorkers. But the problem there was that Haris Rauf is not someone who will, bowl consistent Yorkers.
Yeah.
He's someone who is known for pitching it right in the deck and getting it on the body of the batsman.
Yeah.
And I think they should have tried and, just stuck to their own strengths rather than trying to replicate what is working for the other bowler. If you try and look at what India does, see, Jasprit Bumrah, everyone knows he's the best Yorker specialist, as they call him. But that doesn't mean that Siraj or Arshdeep try and get that right in the block hole. For Arshdeep, it is more about getting towards the offside of the stump and try to keep it as wide as possible. Siraj again tries to attack the stumps. So India, irrespective of who's bowling good on that day, they try to stick to their plans, and that is why they get the success more often than any other team.
Yeah.
So Pakistan could have actually done the same thing, what Haris Rauf could have done, and he had a good score to defend in the last over. So he could have stuck to his plans and maybe got that over the line for Pakistan. But credit to Babar Azam for the way he spoke in the post-match show, where he just highlighted that it was a complete failure from all the 3 departments. It would have been very easy to blame, let's say, the bowling department or the batting department. But to admit that it was a very bad show and to give credit to USA, hats off to Babar Azam.
Yeah, fair enough. But when we talk in terms of momentum, obviously Pakistan have this loss, but also India coming on the bounce from 2 wins. They also beat Bangladesh in the warm-up T20 series, and they now beat Ireland by 8 wickets, which is a massive margin. So how is this momentum going to fare in the game on Sunday?
So India-Pakistan game, actually, it doesn't matter what your momentum is. Of course, that gives you an advantage. It gives you a psychological advantage where you feel that, okay, you are coming from a good match or you're coming from a good set of wins. But when it's that high pressure game, India versus Pakistan, it is so huge that if you have that thought that you are at an advantage, one moment can take the game away from you. So let's try and forget the victories. Let's try and come with the same set of plans.
Yeah.
Rather than seeing how we won or what we could have done better or something, just check what were the things, what basics did we stick to, and try and replicate the same. And I think that is the way both the teams should be looking at. Again, for Pakistan, that loss must have been a very difficult one to try and soak it up.
Yeah.
But again, for them also, they have to figure out a way to just think of it as a new day. They know that they have not played well against India in ICC tournaments, so that again becomes another psychological advantage that India has. But considering the lineup that Pakistan has, the bowling attack that they have, it's going to be an even contest because that's how it has always been in an ICC event.
Yeah, it's been a perfect start for India because after that warm-up game against Bangladesh, there we got to get acclimatized to the conditions like USA. And I think Rishabh Pant at number 3 has been a game changer because after Rohit and Virat, two experienced players, you've got even get a left-hand, right-hand combination going. Yeah. So that's been a good thing. And two comfortable wins. Even our bowlers, Arshdeep Singh, he wanted to get acclimatized to the conditions, his line and length. He's been bowling well. I think he's not yet found his absolute rhythm because in the first 2 overs he got 2 wickets. In the next 2 overs he bowled some wide, some extras. That is something he might try to avoid against Pakistan because that can be an important factor.
Yeah, and you mentioned Rishabh Pant. We'll come back to that in a bit. But also with USA's win, India and Pakistan being in the same group, how does that change the group dynamics? In the terms that USA, I believe, have now won both of the matches, and India has won their one match. Pakistan has lost their one match they have played. So how does that change the group dynamics of the two teams that would qualify?
I think if ICC wants cricket to be developed in USA and cricket to be more familiarized in the country, USA qualifying for the next round is so important. Because that is when you will have crowds coming in. Even as of now, if you look at a few games, you could see some portions of the stands being empty. I mean, that is not how it should have been the way. Maybe they could have thought about the pricing if that was one of the reasons why people are not turning up. But if USA qualifies from here for the next round, it is definitely going to be a massive, massive thing for USA, for the cricket team as well as for the country. And the group stage is poised in such a way that the match, even the rains, it's happening there as well. So you can't actually figure out whether these are the top 2 that are going to go ahead. All you can do is try and focus on whether you can win this game and secure those 2 points. That's more important.
For sure, like you mentioned about USA, but for Pakistan, after that loss against USA, Pakistan winning against India, it becomes a must for them because they don't want to go into, if they lose 2 matches, if they lose to India, then they need to rely on other factors like the net run rate. They need to rely on teams like Ireland or even
so they'll have to basically follow RCB's mantra.
Yeah, definitely. I was just about to come to this point. It's essentially a do or die match for them, and I think we Indians would like nothing more than to spoil their plans and their moods. Definitely. As I said, I'll come back to Rishabh Pant. He is making a brilliant comeback after what he's been through, and now he had a really brilliant knock against Ireland, 36 of 26 balls, not out. So how do you think he factors into the game against Pakistan?
He's making a really good comeback. We saw in the IPL, one of the most inspiring stories was Rishabh Pant's comeback story. And then against Bangladesh, he scored a beautiful 50. Then to follow that up against Ireland in the run chase, that run chase could have been trickier if we would have lost some wickets. But his shot selection was awesome. He played really well. And I think the way he finished that game with that 6, we can immediately see that he is going to be a factor against Pakistan at number 3. And I think he's playing really well and
So Rishabh Pant was basically missed more by the team during the World Cup. If he would have been there, the situation might have been completely different, is what people were thinking and were discussing at that point of time. But now that he is into the squad playing at number 3, he has that capability to make that kind of an impact which can actually bring that cup to us. I'm not going to say much, I don't want to jinx it, but the impact that Rishabh Pant has in this squad is massive.
Yeah, definitely. And while we are on the topic of comebacks and players regaining form, Hardik Pandya, what are your opinions on him?
So, again, what Hardik had faced in the IPL, that is something that no player should go through. I mean, you're playing for a franchise, you're the captain, and your own crowd is booing you. I mean, for a player to play at that level and face such criticism, such harsh things from the crowd, from the fans. It was so difficult for him, and I think the way that we have seen him take it so casually, that is also what people have not liked. But that is the way Hardik has moved on from it, and his main motto is to win it for the country.
Yeah.
Even before the start of the tournament, his discussions, the way he was practicing, everything just went on to show that okay, IPL, whatever happened has happened. Again, you can't blame him there because that wasn't his call; it was the management call. And Hardik, whatever he could ask for, he did. As maybe you can relate it to any corporate employee. If he finds a better job and he would want to go there, and if there are certain things that he can ask for, he will definitely do it.
Yeah.
And that is what Hardik did. So there was nothing wrong that he had done. Yeah, but the way MI played and when they couldn't qualify again this time, a lot of things were put directly onto him. So that was very bad. And then things happening in his personal life. Then again, some saying that it was a PR activity.
Yeah.
So you never know what is actually going on. But when you're looking at Hardik Pandya playing as an Indian player for the team, he is one of the best all-rounders that India has ever had probably. He has made huge impacts playing for India. And I think that is the way he's going to go about. And the best advantage that we have right now is that he's able to fully bowl his quota of 4 overs.
Yeah.
And if Hardik as a player is able to replicate that and the batting form that he's carrying, I think he is going to be a deadly match winner for us.
And the best way, after all that happened with Mumbai Indians, the best way for Hardik Pandya to win back the fans was to perform for India. Against Bangladesh, he scored those 3 back-to-back sixes.
Yeah.
That was something. And then even against Ireland, he bowled really well. I think he picked up 3 wickets.
Yeah.
So he is also finding that rhythm going into the Pakistan game.
Yeah, definitely. And we are talking about bowling. Hardik Pandya picking up 3 wickets. Pakistan were known to have a very strong lineup, on paper at least. Clearly, USA seemed hellbound on proving otherwise. So, what are your thoughts on that?
But it seemed like a brain fade moment for Pakistan at one point of time because honestly, they were clueless of what they were doing. The field setting, the way they were bowling, the lineups, and the length that they were bowling. So that is something that a lot of us would question, that why would a team like Pakistan do that? And now that they have a good coach like Gary Kirsten sitting in the dugout, it becomes more questionable about the choices that they have made. But not taking away anything from that game, they still have probably one of the best bowling attacks. Mohammad Amir back, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Haris Rauf, Naseem Shah. I mean, those bowlers, the names that if you just hear the names, they are someone who can just rattle through the batting lineup. So we still need to just think them as players who can, win the game for Pakistan. And India shouldn't think that, okay, they are not in good form or anything like that. Don't take them very lightly at all. On that particular day, if even one of them is in his prime, you are just going to be bowled out. That's the capabilities these bowlers have.
Absolutely. In the 2023 World Cup, they were missing two of those fast bowlers, but now they have all the 4 fast bowlers. These fast bowlers are Pakistan's best fast bowlers for sure. All are available, along with Shadab and Iftikhar, who are 2 really good spinners. And they have rattled India in the past. In the 2021, when they, like you mentioned, they have win against India with 10 wickets. So in that game, Shaheen Shah Afridi, the way he toppled Indian top order, and even I think Naseem Shah has done that in the Asia Cup too. So that is something India must be looking for, and we can't afford a top order collapse again because our middle order is a little bit inexperienced.
Inexperienced, definitely. So yeah, but also when we look at it, we were talking about the super over that Pakistan played against the US, and how you mentioned that in the 19th over towards the end of the game, Pakistan really tried to keep a margin for the final over, and even after everything in the super over, it was suddenly a bit of an underperformance. Don't you think so?
So what Mohammad Amir was trying to do was not able to maybe execute it, and you could see that frustration where he was just blaming the fielders for not being quick enough. I mean, that is something that you shouldn't have done there on the field. There are times where you will bowl that odd wide ball, or a no ball, or maybe bouncer that doesn't go as per what you expect. But all you have to try to do is come for the next ball and make sure that it lands at the right place where you want it to be. And I think that is where Mohammad Amir couldn't execute that, but exactly what USA did correctly. So that is where that difference was created. And yeah, USA had that clear mindset that they had a target in mind where they wanted to, maybe score, let's say 13, 14, or get that above 15 in that super over, so that they could have that cushion to defend that. And then taking that catch in that super over that the fielder had taken. I mean, that was a stunner and probably won them the game there. So that is something. These are the small things that changes the course of the game. And Pakistan should have just maybe stayed a bit more calm in that crunch situation, and they would have easily gotten over the line.
I think Pakistan were really disappointed that the match went to the super over first of all. And in that super over we saw, I think Mohammad Amir, the way he bowled in the first 20 overs in the game, he bowled really well. But in the super over, his line and length was a bit wavered. And not just Mohammad Amir, even Mohammad Rizwan, I think he should have been ready. He knows, the keeper knows that once even the ball is missed, the batsmen are going to try to run. So like Dhoni does, he takes off his glove and he is ready for that. In this case, I think he couldn't grab it at the first, and then we saw buys. There was a bit of chaos. First of all, extras were given, then buys were given. All that just added to USA's score. They went on to put up 18, and then Saurabh Netravalkar bowled really well, and USA deserved to win it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that the end point of both of you are trying to make is that the mentality played a role, and that that's where Pakistan lost out. Definitely might be, and I think India will also look to exploit that to an extent over there.
So they will. But again, what happened in that game versus what will happen in the next game, you can't really keep that comparison in place. It's going to be a completely different game. Whoever is playing well on that particular day is going to win it for the team.
And I think when you talk about mentality, the Pakistan team is going to be fired up, and they need to be fired up. Because like I mentioned, after losing to USA, they need to win against India. They don't want to depend on factors like net run rate, the other teams, even Kudrat Ka Nizam like they did in the World Cup for the rain, etc. So they must be looking at it, okay, Babar Azam must be looking at it this way. We had a bad day, this was a game to win, but we have lost it. So we need to win that game against India. And the history and the matchups is in the favor of India. So they need to put their best performance, and they need to show that they can beat India.
Yeah, definitely. So coming to that, there is Shadab Khan. How much of a positive is he for that team? He scored 40 of 25 balls. And would Pakistan in a way depend on him or expect him to once again deliver something similar?
So he is basically a true all-rounder for the Pakistani team. I mean, if you look at a spinner of the same comparison for India, it is Ravindra Jadeja, who can give that advantage with the bat as well as with the ball. So Shada, for him, the mindset for him should be that he has to take wickets, at least 2 to 3 wickets, considering the pitch conditions also, and then give whatever best possible outcome with the bat that he can give for the players.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Shadab Khan was not in the best of the form coming into this match. So Pakistan will be really happy with his performance, because when they were 3 down, when they needed, they were really struggling. Runs were not coming, they had lost wickets, they couldn't afford to lose more wickets. That is when Shadab Khan decided to go after the bowlers. He scored a really good 40 of 26 balls, I think, at a strike rate of 160. On that pitch, it was really good. If he were to continue that, if he wouldn't have gotten out, he could have played that role that Marcus Stoinis played for Australia. And if Pakistan would have reached 158, if they would have got 10-15 runs more, they would have won the game.
Yeah, definitely, that's true. And coming with that, we come back to something I mentioned at the start, that is the head-to-head ratio. India have dominated over Pakistan, and Rohit, Virat, we mentioned Hardik, they have played an important role previously in helping India do so. How much of a role do you think that they will play once again, and do you think that India will once again dominate over Pak?
So they are match winners. I mean, considering the way that Rohit played on that pitch, so he was hooking all the balls, that pull shot that went for a 6. I mean, those kind of shots, you don't expect any batsman to play on that pitch. Maybe Surya Kumar Yadav is someone that you can expect that shot from, but playing that level of shot on that pitch shows the caliber that hitman has. So he is definitely a match winner. Virat Kohli, you don't need to talk about him. He's always proved it at the biggest stage that what he can do in such games. So yeah, these are all match winners. You talk about anyone in the team, they are going to win you the game single-handedly. That is the level of cricket that they play. But don't look at the head-to-head comparison. That is something that for the stats, I mean, that is just pure stats. But what happens on that particular day depends on what the players are playing and the way they are performing as a team.
Yeah. Definitely.
When you talk about Virat and Hardik, it just takes me back to MCG.
Yeah.
That game, that knock that Virat and Hardik played, India were in a spot of bother, and they needed Virat and Hardik to step up, and that is exactly what they did. That game has been talked about. It just lives rent free in every Indian fan's head, because the way that six that Virat Kohli hit over the top of head of Haris Rauf,
Yeah.
it just lives rent free.
Definitely. And coming to that, we talk about a few squad players, Kuldeep Yadav being omitted from the playing 11. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Aksar in being included in the 11, I think it was a good decision, because in these surfaces, you don't man an extra batter. So now we have Aksar and Jadeja. Lots of people were talking about, is this a redundant selection because both of them give the same skill sets. But I think both of them are gun fielders too. They're absolutely good with their bowling. And I think in this pitch, we preferred a bowler who hits the deck rather than a bowler who tosses it up.
Yeah.
That is what Aksar and Jadeja do. Jadeja with his quicks. So I think, and mainly for the batting, at number 7 and number 8, it just increases our batting depth, and we need that.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, considering that they are playing in New York right now, Akshar Patel stands a better chance than Kuldeep, where we would need an extra batsman ideally. But when we move to West Indies for the knockout games, and that is where maybe Kuldeep Yadav can be roped in. But again, when you have a team that is winning, let's keep the winning combination the way it is, and the best thing would be to move forward that way.
Yeah, definitely. And coming to one of the last few things that we would be talking about, Babar Azam, would you say that he wasn't at his peak performance against the US?
See, players like Babar Azam, Virat Kohli, for them, if they score, let's say 30 or 15, people would say they have not played well.
Yeah.
But when you see any other player scoring that kind of an innings, everyone suddenly talks about, oh wow, they have played with a better strike rate, they have done good. So these players have set their standards so high that any score, let's say below 50, feels like a failure. So again, Babar Azam got out to a brilliant catch.
Yeah.
So that was something, that bowling was good, the catch was amazing. I think that there is nothing that Babar could have done in that situation. And these are the players that, generally don't try and keep the previous innings in their mind for a long period of time. For them, every day is a new day. They come on the pitch, they see the conditions, they try to adapt, and that is how they play. So I still feel that Babar Azam has a big role to play for the team, for Pakistan. And in this game again, also he knows that the pressure is built on them. So he will try and take his team out of it. So he'll try his absolute best to get out of it.
44 or 43, so anybody would say that Babar Azam was not at his best. But I think Babar Azam can take one positive out of it, that when the other batsmen were getting out, he stayed at the pitch. I think he must be feeling that he has got acclimatized to the conditions. Now he knows the conditions, and now he's going to be playing the same pitch against India. So there he would see how he can do better against India.
Definitely. And with that, we come to the players that you would look out for in this match. You both can name one player from each team to look out for.
I would name two players that I'm looking out for in this game. One is Hardik Pandya. I just want him to perform well once again as an all-rounder, not just in any one department. And I think another player that I would love to, see taking wickets is Mohammad Siraj. I mean, once he has the momentum of, the way he takes wickets, he then finds a rhythm that is very difficult to, match that level of bowling that he does. And if he's able to do that in this game, that will help India for the next round that they progress into. And if Mohammad Siraj is able to execute the level of practice that he does, or his expectations that he has for at this competition, India's bowling lineup is going to be probably one to look out for the rest of the tournament, like it was during the ICC World
ICC
Cup
World Cup.
2023.
I'll mention Virat Kohli because when you mention the dominance that India have over Pakistan, Virat Kohli's aura has been a factor. Because Virat Kohli has played so many games against Pakistan. His record against Pakistan is huge, and that is something Pakistan players know. They need to get Virat Kohli out early, or he's going to take the game away from Pakistan.
I purposely didn't mention Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli's name because they are the players to always look out for.
Yeah,
irrespective
definitely.
of whether they play franchise cricket, irrespective whether it's just a practice session also.
Yeah.
These are the two players that have eyes from all over the world.
Yeah.
So doesn't matter if you don't name them, they are eventually the ones that are at the top.
Definitely. And with that, we come to the predictions.
You don't have to predict. We have to go with India. The way India plays, irrespective of whether they win, whether they lose, or whatever happens, we always back our team.
Yeah,
I mean, again,
definitely.
looking at the jerseys that you guys are wearing, it's very difficult to say India's name, and I don't want to jinx it again. But yeah, it has to be India, irrespective of whichever game it is.
I'm not going to be wearing an Indian jersey and saying Pakistan is going to win the game. So it's India.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, that will be it. So with that, we head into another blockbuster match. Either it's going to be TV sets that break, or it's going to be the Indian flag that flies high. And with that, you can follow us on all our social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. With that, we'll see you again next time. Thank you.